How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to show you how to do a 20-foot, that's probably a little less than 20-foot rain gutter, how to install it from start to finish. So first we start out with, we got our gutter machine. This is a 5-inch K style. We're running out of the machine right now. Got the end cap ready to put on. We are putting that on with a set of Malco end cap crimpers. These are, I think they're SLC ones. I crimp them with the box end in, the silver side, in towards the center of the gutter. Usually do 3 on each flat spot of the end cap. Make sure it's in there tight, and then I usually just do 1 on the flat front spot. So that's crimped on, ready to go. Put a good amount of sealant in there, and you always make sure and weld it on with your finger. We'll show you a picture of what this looks like after we get it done. Clean your finger off so you don't get glue on the outside of the gutter. And there we go. Now we'll go get our measurement. So first, make sure you start out with a stable ladder. Don't want anybody falling off any roof. Hop up here, and I always check to see if I need to notch my drip edge, the gable part of the drip edge. The back of the gutter is gonna be down in there, and this is a shorter gutter, so we won't have as much drop. So I don't need to trim that on this particular roof. And I like to bend the drip edge up a little bit by hand, just to kind of loosen it up and give you some room to slide that rain gutter under there. That's very important. That gutter is under the drip edge, so the water doesn't go behind the gutter. While we're here, we'll get the downspout measurement. So you measured from where the end cap is going to be at the edge of the roof, and then I just use my line of sight to line this wall up and get my downspout measurement. So this is going to be a 23A, and we'll write that down. So we got our drip edge all bent up, ready to get this gutter hung. So we need a measurement. I usually use a tape with a big end on it to be able to hook it without a second person. And then hop over and then measure. This is a log home, so I measure to the farthest point that gutter is going to hit. And then I add a 1/4 inch for that end so it overhangs the roof a little bit. So we're going to do 169.5. So we got our gutter run out to length, same measurement, 169.5. We'll get our downspout marked in here, which was 23A. So that 23 is basically the right hand corner of that trim. And so an A elbow goes down the front of that trim. And so I'm going to punch that hole on the inside of that line so it goes where an A elbow would go. So we're getting these hangers in. These are called hidden hangers by Raytech. I usually put them every 20 inches on center. We live in Montana, so it's a pretty harsh climate. So a few extra hangers here and there don't hurt anything. So we'll go ahead and get all those in. And they just clip into the front edge of the gutter. You want to make sure you have one every 20 inches at least, and then one about 6 inches from each end cap. So I use a Malco X punch most of the time. That's the 2x3 punch. You could punch A's and B's with it, and then you use those X flaps to screw your elbows into. So we got everything marked out. We're going to go ahead and line our punch up. This one's 23A, so I got those marks on there. And these work really good, and they hold up really well. So this is a T-wedge by Truss. They're really nice. They slip on the back of the gutter. This particular fascia is angled, not plumb, and so hopefully you guys just put all gutters on new plumb fascia, but oftentimes you have to put a wedge behind it to kick the gutter out to where the back of that gutter is plumb. So that way it holds its capacity of water that it's meant for. So these have little adjustable marks on them. kind of check them out, and then I throw it on with a level, make sure I got the right notch. Good to go. So I'll make a few of these. So I put these on every third hanger. So I put one on, skip two, put one on, skip two, put one on. You want one fairly close to the ends, and then the reason I don't do one on every hanger is because if you put too many on, they tend to rattle. And I make sure and put them right next to the hanger, so that way when you put the hanger screw in, it pinches that top of the wedge against the fascia and really helps hold that gutter where it needs to be. So this is our standard gutter hanging screw. It's 1.5 inch, 10 by 1.5 inch, and it's zinc coated. You can step it up to ceramic coating if you want. We don't have that much humidity, so they seem to work fine for like a cheap regular install. Got this gutter on out, made, ready to go. Like you can see, this is a pretty rigid stuff. So anything up to 40, 50 feet, you can do with one hand in the middle, as long as your machine's adjusted right. So this is ready to go. Ladder's in the middle. Get this up under the drip edge, and then when I'm by myself, I just go ahead and tack one in the center. And then I can go check both ends, make sure I'm at the right length, make sure I didn't mess my gutter up. And that looks perfect. I'm about 1/4 inch over the shakes with my end cap. And my downspout is right in line with the trim. So now we're at the high end. I usually start from the high end of the gutter and level towards the downspout. That way if you run into any wobbles in the roof edge, it's easier to go down than it is up. So there's more leeway. And then I usually level every about 4 feet. I level from each wedge basically. So I'm just getting all this water running that way. Make sure the back of the gutter is clean when you put the level on. And then I tuck the level up against the back of the gutter to make sure it's straight this way in the bottom. And that gets you a good accurate reading on where the gutter's pitched. So I got those all level. Now I'll go ahead and just tack my middle hangers. They're good to go. So you always make sure and put your hangers at the right height in the back of the gutter. Okay. So here, this is a 3A elbow downspout. An A elbow is this style. It's the type that goes on this side of the wall. A B would go over here and down, bend the opposite way. If that makes sense, because this is a rectangle. One end of these elbows is open, and one end is crimped. You can see the crimps in the corners. That crimped end always needs to go down flow. These aren't sealed or anything, so how these go together is just a friction fit. You could put zip screws in them, but you want that water to go into the bell end, crimped end always down flow. So remember that. If you put water in this way, all it would do is dump straight out of this, and it wouldn't work. So crimped end down. So I always kind of straighten my flaps out a little bit. It makes it easier to get the screws into. I have color matched 1/2 inch zip screws. They're self-piercing. I bring up 2 elbows with me. Get that gutter so it's nice and the elbow nice and seated up on the gutter. I always kind of like visualize where I want it to go to make sure that this is nice and flows well as far as and looks straight. And then I just put a screw in each side, about 1/4 inch down. I angle them up a touch, that way it kind of sucks the elbow up into the gutter. And then what I do with my other elbow is, that's how I get my measurement. So throw that on the wall. I have 13.5 end to end. and you add 3 for these junctions, so 1.5 each side. So we have 13.5, so 16.5 is our cut measurement. So I use HVAC pipe cutters for doing downspouts. Some people use a hacksaw, some people use a chop saw. There's a few different ways to do it, but these work good for me. They fit my tool belt good, so that's what I've always used. I got my measurement here. These are just plunge cutters. They have a sharp tip on them. So it takes a little practice to get good at cutting straight with these. And just like the elbows, you have to make a crimped end of this crossover pipe. So I have another set that is a set of crimpers. So I have 2 sets. The crimpers, single edge out. And I just crimp one on each corner. For people that haven't ever done this before, it doesn't hurt to crimp an extra couple times on these ribs, just to help the elbows go together easier. So it slides right in, looks nice and smooth. You want to put this seam up, so that way you can't see it. So we'll slide this guy on here. So perfect, fits good. I like it. You want to make sure this is going in line with that trim. If it's kicked down like this, or you have to push it too far up, then the joints will leak. So you want to make sure everything looks like it flows, like it's going to flow really well. So now I go ahead and we usually put our bottom of our elbows even with the bottom of the siding. So I'll go up, measure to the butt end of the elbow, and this one you subtract 3. So the crossover you add 3, this one you subtract 3. So we got 74 there. I'm going to cut it at 71. These downspouts have 1 factory crimped end, so that's what I usually use for my downpipe. Here's my pipe cutters again. So this will be my top, just so you can see there is a non-crimped end. And then there's the crimped end of the downspout. So crimped end down. We'll go ahead and put our bottom elbow on while it's on the ground. Okay, so we got that ready to go. Everything's the right length. We'll go ahead and put our clip on. So I cut these out of the pipe. They're 1 3/4 wide. So it's just basically a C off of that pipe. I cut 1 circle and then cut that circle in half. Gives me 2 clips, 1 for top, 1 for bottom. And then I make sure that everything's in line. Get my clip where I want it. Screw that in with 1 1/2 screw. I always try to make sure that top of the clip is even with the downspout. It makes them look a little better. And then I put 4 screws in those clips, 2 on each side. Kind of helps even everything, or flatten that clip out and makes it look a little cleaner. For my bottom clip, I throw my level on here, make sure it's nice and straight up and down, and then I look at the trim and make sure it lined up with the trim. So if the trim's crooked, I usually follow the trim, just then it looks straight. So, but I always throw my level on there just to see, just to get it level, especially if it's in the middle of a wall. So we got the clip on. Go ahead and screw that guy on. I put 1 in the center of the bottom elbow. People hit these with like lawnmowers and step on them or whatever, and that kind of helps them hold up a little better. So here's our last piece of these come in 10-footers. This is our leftover. So I usually just go ahead and slide these on for an extension, and keeps everything working good.